It's 4 o'clock on a Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi's Quarantini Happy Hour. Yeah. Hello, everybody. How are you guys? Let's check in the chat room and see who we're going to have on the show today. Hello, Jesse J. Peck, Kristen Knight, Giovanni Lanza. A lot of Kristen Knight in there. Martin Gravel. Dan Weber, Dean Kataska, KBL Rocks, Keith LeBrant. Or does he say KBL or KLB? I'm not sure. Brad Gray, Nancy Kalel, Peter Rayhill. Yes, fifth like. Hit that like button while we're talking about it. Alex Dillon, Jim Stamper, Amanda West, hello. How are you guys? So today, I want to talk about why you do what you do and how making music makes you feel. But we'll get to that in a minute. Hello, Lane Bell and Shrek, Andre Stepanian, Ewart Williams, Terrell Beckless, Pierre Venio, Tickly Ear. It's Thursday. I can't believe I'm still a little wiped out from the rally. I really am. I've been playing catch up. Brad Gray wants to know about feeling with your hands. Uwe, how are you? Due to COVID, I was finally able to get to the show. Finish my live gig in Norway at midnight. Yay! Mark Reel, El Rosso. Heidi Owen, Marion Laird. Amanda's still living on LA time after the rally. That's funny. Me too. I have no more news about my taxi mug. It was in Riga on Friday. Where is Riga? Anyway, all right, and hopefully Pedro Costa will show up in a little bit because he actually did send me the picture of his wife with her, Estonia? Yugoslavia? Estonia. Anyway, Pedro sent me the picture of his wife, Jessica, holding up her prize smallmouth bass, so I'll share that with you in a minute. Kristen Knight speaking a language, I'm guessing Swedish? Norwegian? Danish? Oh, man. Norwegian and Danish. All right. John Pearson, welcome. Yep, a nice fishing picture coming up. Dean Kataska fishes from a kayak. I haven't tried that, and I've wanted to for the longest time, so someday I will. Hello, Darren Fletcher. All right, so while I'm killing a little time here to see if Pedro shows up or not, hello, Simon Burnham. How are you? Okay, so I want you to really think about these answers. I'm not sure, ultimately why I'm asking these questions is I want to see if anything that we talk about today will generate any new ideas for new things that we could add to Taxi, new services, new twists on what we're already doing. And so I made a list of questions that I put together from reading some marketing books that I thought were intelligent questions. And they're kind of touchy-feely, but I want to see how you guys respond to this. I haven't watched The Queen's Gambit yet. Deb and I we're on like midway through season 4 of Poldark on Amazon Prime. And so, will we move on to Queen's Gambit? Probably. Also, what's that other show? The Royals. I think the new season of that is out. Um, hey, Jan Wilich, how are you? Okay, so here comes question number one. And I'm really not sure if I should tell you to just blurt out the first thing that pops into your head, or if no, not the new Poldark. We're still on season 4. I think it goes up to season 5, and season 6 is not yet in the can, as it were. First question. Before you joined Taxi, what was your goal for your music? Before you joined Taxi, before you even knew that Taxi existed, why did you write and record music? Specifically versus why did you just play music, sitting around the house banging out stuff on your guitar or your keyboard or playing live gigs. But before you joined Taxi, what was your goal for your music? Did you have one? Maybe you didn't. Maybe you just did it because it was fun. I don't know, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. This is the second time the series Poldark has been made. Interesting. Amanda West says to have someone sing it, to be known as a composer, says Alex Dillon. Kristen Knight, I just want to develop my talent. To have somebody, the goal is to have somebody sing it. Oh, Rosso, it depends how long term. Wow. In pursuit of a professional career as a songwriter. Okay. The creative side needed to come out. Brad Gray says, I had no specific goals. John Pearson, boy, you're right off the pages of one of the marketing books I'm reading. I wanted to write something that made a difference to someone somewhere. That's one of the things they talk about in one of the marketing books. Whoa. The answers are coming in fast and furious here. Marion Laird wanted to have a career as a folk singer. Jim Stamper trying to write a hit song or get some TV placements. I was a member of LASS, the LA Songwriter Showcase. Express a need for creativity. Dan Weber says to use the new music technology to make some extra income. Jesse to try for film and TV. Before Taxi, huh? Alex Dillon, spread joy. Gary Canyon says, before Taxi I was lost, but now I've found. Seriously, it was to understand the industry. Uwe says, was just writing, unsure about my own will to go the route of making it. Brad Gray says, I had dreams, but not proper goals. Marion also wanted to be a professional classical guitarist. Lane Bell and Shrek, I love this answer. Whoops, where did it go? Got bumped off my page here. I wanted to be a Beatle. Didn't we all? I mean, I think we all still do. Dean Kateska says, I listen to new music, original music, cover songs just don't do it for me, and I wasn't hearing much for modern original music in my area. It was a craving, I guess. Peter Rahill says he did it for fun. Pierre, I don't remember not wanting to make music. I think that's a lot of us. The goal was my pre-deciding to be a professional desire. Okay, that goal was my pre-deciding to be a professional desire. That's a mouthful. To stop hiding it. Interesting. Stop wondering if I could actually really do it. Mark Reel says, I wanted to write songs. Songs are like little novels to me. Crashgate says, improving my love, okay to say? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Crash. Il Raso, but I suppose after realizing I didn't want to be a rock star, I figured I wanted to do something else with music. P.S. I was never a rock star. I think that is many of us. Lucian Lewis, I enjoy making people happy. To see what I could make, tried some YouTube and other platforms, no success anyway. Once I decided I wanted a career as a lyricist, my goal was to have someone record my songs. Marion Laird, my whole family is musical. Oh man, sometimes I get these giant bursts of stuff and it just rolls off the page. Sorry if I miss anything. There we go. I also write poetry and enjoy the creative process as Mark Reel. I'm a composer by nature, says Andre. It's just what I do, regardless of recording or not. I can't stop. If I didn't record them, my brain will blow up. I hope not. Ewart Williams wants to travel the world playing music. Taxi has given me a direction. Nice, Lucian. Amanda says, I joined Taxi to try and kickstart my career as a lyricist. Well, I hope we've helped you with that. Jam mileage, no plan. I just wanted to play music. Amanda West, I want to write for the Beatles. Jesse J. Peck, I wanted to be the Eagles. Well, you and I are definitely in sync on that. I got to say, the first time I saw the Eagles in concert was like at the very first gig they played at the Miami High Life Fronton days after one of these nights came out. And they gave all of us at Criteria free tickets, and they put us right in front of the mixing console. I'm guessing the High Life Fronton was like a 5,000-seater, 10,000-seater. And I was just blown away by how they were so precise in making everything sound like the record. And it was a pretty complicated record. But yet it didn't sound stiff or over-rehearsed. It felt natural and seemed to flow. But man, what a great concert that was. That's when I decided I wanted to be an Eagle. Dan Weber, honestly, I wanted to get out of my financial situation, but now I'm more connected to it because of Taxi. Nice. Heidi Owen says, writing is where I felt control of how the story ends. Interesting. Are there any grades? No grades. No, I want this to be a free flow of information. I'm looking for stuff that will spark ideas on what more I can do with the company. Idea suggestion, a monthly fee payment model for folks like me that can't afford the annual fee or anywhere near it. You know, we have looked at the monthly fee situation forever. And the one thing that always stops me from doing it is that people will see a listing, a particular listing. They'll join for the, $30 or whatever it costs for that month. They'll submit, and then they probably won't, pay for the following month. And then they'll say, well, I tried Taxi. Great. I know this isn't you, Amanda, but I'm talking about other people. I joined Taxi. Didn't work out for me. Yeah, they joined for a month. They made one submission. They probably took a pot shot. By having people be part of the ecosystem and watching this show and regular Taxi TV and going to the road rally and being part of the forum and just being part of this family of Taxi members is a big part of what moves people forward. And I'm afraid that if we offer it kind of a la carte on a monthly basis, that won't happen. Something that we actually have set up in our database, but we haven't rolled out yet, largely because of the road rally. But I will roll out a test sometime, probably the next 60 days, You guys may not hear about it because I may choose 2,000 people randomly from our database of people who've inquired about taxi but not joined, is what we call the Easy Pay plan, where it's broken up into $300 slices over 3 months or something like that. Oh, Kristen, I really wanted to attend the road rally. Loved the free video on YouTube, but wanted to support the company. Thank you, Kristen. Oh, man. I just keep getting these giant, like, stuff just shoots right off of there, and I don't want to miss stuff. I did hear that Bruce Swedien passed away. It was very sad. I think I told you guys this, but for those of you who might not have seen that show, probably a year or so ago, I was over at Westlake Studios. Some friends of mine own it, and I was in the control room, and they let me spend an hour in there just sitting in the control room listening to Michael Jackson masters of stuff from Thriller in that control room. It was mind-blowing, just absolutely mind-blowing. I know that they were great records, really super well engineered and produced, but hearing it in the control room, I heard stuff I've never heard on those records, even with headphones on. Just amazing. Bruce was a great engineer. Giovanni wanted to be Keith Emerson. Stuart McClellan, hello. ML, thank you for the Criteria stories. Heard about Criteria through the Tom Dowd documentary. Wasn't that a great documentary? If you guys haven't seen it, what was it called? Shoot, I can't remember now. I can't remember, but if you just go on Amazon and search Tom Dowd documentary, you'll find it. Incredible. Everybody who wants to make music should listen to that or watch it. Marion Laird, I love that listing for Songs About Home compilation CD. Yeah, we've been doing compilations, several of them in the last year, and they've been very successful. We put together a compilation. There's no like set number of songs that go on there. They've got to be super high quality and just like sound like they're eminently licensable. And then we send it out to, if I had to guess a number, I'd say 3 or 4 dozen different libraries that we work with, the ones that we work with most frequently, that we like the best and do the best for our members. And we just send them out a playlist on Disco saying, here's a bunch of great stuff. And this genre, that genre. But one of the topics that comes up in requests for music frequently in the licensing business is songs about home. So we're doing one right now for Songs About Home because we're still waiting for TV shows to come out about the pandemic. I think that people are waiting for the pandemic to be over or mostly over before those shows start to come out. I think that a lot of productions, Hollywood opened back up some weeks ago, and of course they were trying to finish up seasons of shows that they had to stop working on and shooting when the pandemic hit. But at some point, there's going to be just a glut of shows about the pandemic. Everything from touchy-feely stuff, how it affected this family, to shows about how doctors had to deal with it in hospitals and first responders, all that stuff. And we know that one of the things that'll come up a lot will be songs about home. The little building that was the hippie bookstore on the corner of San Juan and Main and Venice Beach is still there, where the Eagles played their first gig. I didn't know that's where they played their first gig. Was that as the Eagles or when they were backing Linda Ronstadt? Scott Hansen. I wrote a song about home. It's a tribute to the city I love, Cleveland, Ohio. The title of the song is Get Me the Hell Out of Here. Oh, so that was their first gig as the Eagles. Wow. There'll probably be songs about frustration and despair too, since it seems like so few people care about others in this time. The B-side is called Please. All right, so now let's get to the root of all those great answers you gave me. Why did you have those goals? Think about that. That's always the hardest thing, is the why. You can tell the sun's going down. I'm turning orange, very flesh-tony. Why? What is the why? Why do you make music? Alex Dillon, to support my family. Ken Mesford, I have to. Not enough love life. It's always been my passion. I'm just wired that way. Used to be for fame, but now I just want music to be loved by as many people as possible. That one seems to be a pretty popular answer that I've heard from musicians all the years I've owned Taxi, is just is the whole, I just want to share it with people. And when people say I want to share it with people, I think they're looking, and I don't mean this to sound bad or untoward, but they want to feel the love come back. They want to be appreciated. They want to be validated, which I certainly understand. Jesse J. Peck, addicted to music and would like to make an income with it. Part obsession, part is a dream I cannot bring myself to crush, part is wanting to do something else, part is wanting to give people wonderful musical experience. Dean Kataska says, I want the satisfaction of creating something great that others would enjoy too. Amanda agrees about the validation. Andre's been doing it since he was 6. He has no answer for this. Uwe says, now I have a goal. Since Taxi, money eventually, of course, but also a clear path, the purpose of learning and developing myself as a composer. Jan Weilage, expansion of my musical abilities, always something to learn and possibly pass along. Simon says, we're all looking for validation. Kristen says, but it's unusual. Not everyone else does it. Interesting stuff. Music will never cheat on you or leave you. Wow, Dan Weber, something I've wanted to do all my life. Now the best thing about it is the confidence it creates for this introvert. That's interesting. Because it's hard. Doing hard things is awesome. I think there's a bond between musicians, no matter the genre. I agree with that. Certainly with taxi members, that adds another layer of the bond, I think, that kind of we're all part of this extended family. Taxi's appealing to me now because I want to utilize all the skills I've acquired as a musician over the last 40 years since I started. Nope, you didn't miss it, Pedro. Okay, Pedro is here. I've been waiting for you, Pedro. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have Jessica Costa and her fish. Oh, man. I've got the only music show on the internet where we show fish pictures. Oh, that's awesome. I love the expression on the fish's face. The fish does look like Billy Bass, the singing rubber-mounted fish that you used to press the button and it would sing whatever it sang. Jessica's got that satisfied look that all fisher people have when they catch catch a nice fish. That is a nice fish. That's a good-sized smallmouth right there. That's awesome. Oh, man, I hope Jessica's watching. Let's see, I'm not looking at the chat room right now. 20-inch smallmouth bass. Wow. Pedro, is Jessica watching with you? Aw, Marion says they're both a catch, right? Jessica, I've met Jessica a couple of times. She's sweet, wonderful, and enthusiastic. She really is such a nice person. Um, she knows her scales. Anyway, that's awesome. Thank you for sending me that. I appreciate it. Everybody in the chat room appreciates it. All your taxi friends appreciate it. And all right, bye, Jessica. I'm back. Look, I know how to press buttons. Wow, what a difference it makes when the sun goes down. Somebody should write a song about that, like Elton John. You are a lucky guy. Your wife exudes just a really positive energy, and I know I sound like I'm from California, which I am at this point in my life. Um, Jesse says with Taxi, we're all like in the band. It's true. Somebody else said that to me the other day in something. I can't remember who it was, but somebody sent something, either posted it online or sent an email. No, it was somebody that is in the new member deals coming out in the November Taxi Transmitter that said, it was Cass McKenty said Michael makes it feel like he's getting the band back together. I thought that was sweet. Brad Gray says, I enjoy being part of Taxi as submitting and competing forces you to get better and really see what it takes to succeed. I wish I had this around when I was playing music in my 20s. It's funny that for years, staff members have taken note at the Road Rally that we have a lot of, like middle-aged and senior members. And they're like, why can't we attract more young people? Not that they're ageist about it, but they figure that younger people will know how to make younger, hipper music, that's like popular on playlists on Spotify and what have you. And I think the reason that Taxi members are kind of middle-aged and seniors, not all, but I would say a good 50% or more, is because the older you get, the more realistic you get, just because life's experiences have kind of drilled that into you. When you're 20 something, you think you're the shiz, and there's a certain sense of maybe entitlement, and that I make music, therefore everybody should love it. And as you get older, you realize, no, I've got to make really good music, and I've got to be more serious about this. And maybe it has something to do with older people are more gainfully employed at that stage of their life, or they've got savings, or they want to live their life's dream. They've put it off for too long between, getting a job, being in the real world, paying a mortgage, raising a family. All that stuff kind of gets in the way of making music. And then once they become either parents of teenagers that don't require as much, well, maybe they need more supervision, or they become empty nesters, and they want to live out their life pursuing something that is their passion, and they're finally going to take the time to do it. So maybe that's some of it. Dean Kataska says more entitlement, less skill. That's funny. Mark, really, you bring up an interesting point, and I really appreciate your honesty. Mark says, I don't want to appear to be as petty as I probably am, but I am sure that ego plays a big part in our songwriting. But what a kick it is to finish a song. I'm sure that, ego and validation are part of it. We want people to say, wow, that's awesome. I can't do that because most of your friends can't unless they're fellow musicians. Look, I admit it, on Thanksgiving, my wife's father and stepmom are coming over. And I'm sure when they walk in, I'll play them the opening part of the road rally just so they can see what it is that I do. And why am I doing that? Because I want them to say, wow, that's awesome. So validation, ego, we all have one. Don't be embarrassed about it. Jim Stamper says, all of the above. Amanda says, no ego for me, but some validation, yes. I'm not sure I can separate, for me personally, I'm not sure I can separate validation from ego. Do I want the validation because it strokes my ego? I don't think I'm a pure enough individual or advanced enough, or what's the word, developed enough that I can enjoy validation without having some ego tied to it. I'm not sure. I've got to say, my wife and my younger daughters certainly keep me in check when I show them something and want to show off a little bit. It's like, hey, look what Daddy-O did, or to my wife, check this out. Or I'll read Deb an email I got from a member that is very complimentary, and she just doesn't give a damn. She's like, get over it. Validation gives you the courage to keep going. Interesting. Yeah, you know what? You're right. When you get your first forward, I've seen this with a lot of members over the years. When they get the validation of having something forwarded, okay, if I could do that once, I can do it again, so I'm going to work harder at it. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, I made some, do we do it for financial reasons, emotional satisfaction, sense of accomplishment, pride, ego? These are all notes that I had on this piece of paper. For those of you who've already signed deals or had placements, what's the biggest reward for you? For those of you who've already signed deals or had placements, what's the biggest reward? Again, is it the financial aspect, the emotional satisfaction, sense of accomplishment, the pride, the validation? Dean Kataska says, I need the validation. My ego is severely bruised before joining Taxi. Oh, I'm sure we bruised it some more. That is the hardest part of what we do at Taxi. And you probably got a good sense of that from when we had Angela on the show the other day, our head screener, and we're all keenly aware that when we don't forward, literally, I think every screener feels that a little bit every time they don't forward something and they return it. They know that somebody out there is most likely going to have their feelings hurt. It's a pretty rare Taxi member, a more evolved Taxi member. You guys probably would fall in that group of more evolved members just because you've availed yourself of all this discussion and thinking that we've all done together over these many months. So I think you're more emotionally prepared to take the hit when a screener doesn't forward you, and you know that they're not doing it to smack you down or hurt you. They're doing it to help you, and I think that you guys have matured, I guess. Except Scott. I'm kidding. I know that deep down inside you're extremely mature, Scott. Scott Hansen, I had a song in a movie. It feels like I finally made something of myself. I remember that. I was very proud of you when I saw it, and that's the satisfaction I get when I see you guys, when I get the list of member deals and it comes to me for an edit before it goes to the final editor, before it goes into the newsletter. And I saw your thing in there, Scott, and I went, man, that's awesome. I was very, very happy for you. I do it for validation and confidence, but money has been a great reward as well. Yeah, getting paid for doing something you love is probably the ultimate form of validation, isn't it? I mean, it hits on a very emotional level, but it also says, hey, I'm good enough to be a professional now. Andre says it's history and you can't erase it. Once it's recorded and then used in film, TV, etc., and then the money rolls in, you're right. It's a bit of a legacy because let's face it, someday you're going to be gone from this earth and somewhere somebody will still be hearing your music. I always point back to Peter Sevo Sr., our member that passed away a year or so ago. And in his mid to late 90s was still getting placements of music that he recorded in the mid 1940s. And when I called him to congratulate him, it chewed me out. He was going a little deaf. And he's like, listen to me, young man. I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I wanted people to hear my music. And now they are, thanks to what you guys have done for me, which we connect him with the publisher, which ultimately got him the placements. Hey, Jessica, how are you? Okay, the fish picture's coming back up. There you are, Jessica. The proud fisherwoman. Is that what they call a female fisher person? A fisherwoman versus a fisherman? I love that shot. I really do. It's awesome. It's just anybody who fishes knows how good it feels. What's pathetic, I guess, on our part is that we've outsmarted something with a really small brain, but their instincts and their will to survive makes them more often than not outsmart us, right? And I rarely keep any of the fish that I catch. Maybe at the end of the day, if I've got one fish that's really delicious, like a mahi-mahi or a snook or something, I'll keep it. But I generally release everything. And I feel bad sometimes, like, poor fish. They don't feel the pain. Most fish don't have a lot of nerve endings in their mouth because they eat a lot of crustaceans and stuff. Some fish, like tarpon, allegedly have no nerve endings in their mouth. It's all very bony. They eat a lot of crabs and stuff. And so I always tell my wife, oh, they don't feel the hook. But what they do feel is something pulling them in a direction they don't want to go. They feel trapped and captured. And I do sometimes lament the fact that I've scared the crap out of that poor fish, scared it within an inch of its life, but then I release it and I make sure it's nice and healthy. I wiggle it around in the water and get some aeration going on in the gills to make sure that they don't roll over and die once you put them back in the water. And I go, okay, so I did the right thing. I release it. But yeah, I still scared the crap out of it. I admit that. But on the other hand, when that fish gets really smart, gets a lot of money, can go buy some fishing tackle that can catch humans, they could reverse the process. All right, coming back to you. There I am with my strange lighting. You do feel the stress. Absolutely. We would all feel stress. Come on, how would you feel if somebody grabbed you by the mouth and didn't let you go, or grabbed you by the foot? I'm much more about Oceania, catching saltwater fish, than I am freshwater fish. That one was freshwater. Hugs right back to you, Jessica. Good to see you, kind of. Good to be seen by you. Good to see your fish. Scott Hansen. Oh, man. I'm not going to repeat that, but it's kind of funny. It's very inappropriate, but it's funny. Oh, and you ate it. Awesome. Being screened has been an important part of the learning journey, I believe that I was writing and recording at a higher level than I really was. Professionals telling you what they hear is productive honesty. That's really a very important point. I think that, and I don't want this to sound untoward or unkind, but I think a lot of people join taxi thinking that they are further along the road than they really are. But they don't know. They probably don't measure themselves against what's on the radio. I think a lot of, or, in playlists on Spotify and Pandora, I think a lot of people that say, oh, I don't like what's out there right now, they don't measure themselves against the professionals. And they live in this little bubble of, I'm really good. I've been playing for 20 years. I've been playing for 30 years. Well, I've been golfing for 30 years, and I'm still not very good. I enjoy it, but I'm not very good. So playing for all those years hasn't really paid off for me because I don't do it on a regular basis, because I haven't taken a lot of lessons. I just go out and do it mostly for the companionship, and I got good enough where I don't embarrass myself anymore, and I'm happy to be at the level that I'm at. But I think a lot of musicians, maybe this is true of other creative people as well, that they don't realize where they are in the pecking order. And I think that that's something that Taxi brings to you guys. Is it's a bit of a splash of cold water on the face, as it were. But it's also what you need if you really want to become a professional. You need somebody to go, hey, this is where you're really at, but we're here to help you. Got it? Amanda says, I don't think they can actually hear the difference between the charts and their own music. Why is that? Why is that? Sometimes we hear submissions at Taxi and we shake our heads and go, how did this person think that this was on that level or similar to the artists and the references? It's like nobody in their right mind could think that, but they did. And I'm not putting them down by saying that. I'm curious as to why they felt that way. Does snook taste fishy or mild like halibut? It definitely does not taste fishy. It's not oily, dark meat. It's very white meat. Does not taste fishy. It's hard to describe, but it doesn't taste like any other fish. I will tell you that it's got a sweetness to it. It's got a mild, very mild flavor, and it tastes kind of sweet. I want to see if Jan Weilage is still watching if she will weigh in on that. Careful, Scott. You're treading on thin ice there, buddy. Most submissions are CDs. Are MP3s. Wish you could upload 320. Honestly, it's been so long since we tweaked the back end of the website, but we put a lot of thought into that. We did. And quite frankly, the industry, we needed a size that was high quality enough and manageable to store all that stuff. You would not believe the quantity of music that we have stored. And the industry, and also sending the music out, moving it around. We send some really big files, and we send somebody like 125 pieces of music. That's a lot of data. And if they're interested, oftentimes the libraries will reach out and say, send me a wave. So think of it as we're sending a digital copy of a photo, but if somebody wants to print the photo in a book, they're going to ask for a higher res version. Marion remembers the cassette burritos from the olden days. MP4 seems to be the next thing. All right, let me see if I've got anything else. All right, for those of you who've had material signed by a library or label, what have you, or gotten a placement, how did that make you feel? Talk about the emotional aspect of it. How did it make you feel? Ken Mesford, I have actually checked out Mixbus by Harrison Consoles, the DAW that's based on the 32C. I've done a couple of sessions on Harrison's, and frankly, Dave Harrison actually worked at MCI, which is where my earliest consoles were from, the ones at Criteria and the console I had at Triad Recording Fort Lauderdale. Harrison's and MCI's were very similar in design. There were obviously some differences, but they were similar in design and similar in how they sounded. And frankly, I don't think either of those consoles sound as good as an SSL or particularly a Neve. So I've got no burning desire. I've never thought, boy, I wish I could get my hands on a Harrison. I didn't hate them. They were just utilitarian, good, solid consoles, but they didn't sound... You had to work, both on MCI's and Harrison's, you had to work a little harder than you do with something like a Neve that inherently just sounds magical. I don't know that any consumers would hear the difference, though. That's the one thing I always say. No matter what your outboard is, no matter what console you're using, it's the song and the performance that sell records and get people to listen. It's not the console. Mark Reel says, hit that like button. Jan says, Snook, mild taste, comparable to halibut and grouper. I think more like grouper. I agree, kind of like in the halibut family, but grouper also, some forms like rockhind grouper, spotted grouper, they, especially the ones that you catch in deeper water, tend to have a little bit of a sweet taste to them. Liz says, yes, please, validate us and hit the like button. John Pearson says, it actually felt like someone was actually understanding what I was trying to say. Proud and validated. Amanda says it actually made me feel like I was actually good enough. Debbie Ward was like, wow, I can write a lyric in several genres and they signed for and want more. Dan says, my first placement showed up in TuneSat and I bought a DVR too late to catch it the following nights. I freaked. Nobody understood what I was talking about. I laugh about it now. You know, if I were one of you guys and I had something on TV, this is a scenario that I know that happens. It breaks my heart, and I'm sure it would happen to me, is you hear about a placement, you call your family and friends pre-COVID, everybody comes over, you order a bunch of buffalo wings and pizzas, everybody's sitting around the living room, the show comes on, it's like dun 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 dun. And then you realize that your piece of music plays for 19 seconds, very, very, very low in the mix, in the back of a bar room scene where two people are talking at the bar and you can barely hear your music. And quietly your friends are going, wah, 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 wah. That's got to be heartbreaking. But you know that your piece of music was good enough that it made it into the show better than all the other pieces of music that were vying for that slot, and you got paid for it. That means you're a professional, right? But at least it's in there. Yep. For anybody else that tunes in, I'm spending more time reading the chat today than I normally would. For anybody who's not a regular that tunes into the archive, they're going to see this go, what an idiot. The guy is just sitting there staring down a little bit. I'm reading. I'm interested in this stuff. Wow, a TV series actually mentioned the band's name as well. That's rare. Kind of like when Steve Martin got his name in the phone book. That's awesome. Yeah, the new version of Master Writer, I think, is just awesome. Every word that I said about that. If you guys haven't watched that video, when I interviewed Barry Dvorzan from Master Writer, if you go into Taxi's YouTube channel, go into the videos section, you'll see, I think it's called How I Built a Multi-Decade Career in Songwriting or in the Music Business with Barry Dvorzan. It's a great interview. I love Barry. He's probably in his mid-80s now. What a storied life he's led, and he's the nicest guy and a brilliant guy and a sweet, good man. And somewhere in the middle of that, I played like a 7 or 8 minute video that they just had made about the new features on Master Writer. And I thought it was great because a lot of people just don't really understand what Master Writer is and how valuable it is and how helpful it is. I think it's like, I don't know, what, $10 a month or something like that to subscribe to it. And if you decide you don't want to continue, you don't lose any of your data. You can download it all. It's something everybody should have. Mark Reel says, Master Writer is tremendous. I could not agree more. All right, and my last question for this episode is, what value does taxi bring to your life? I'm curious about that. Oh, great. Liz just posted the link. Thank you, Liz. Kristen Knight says, this amazing community. There's a lot to be said for that. Isn't it funny how many people, we had a good sign up for the Road Rally, 2,703 people registered, but, that's a fraction of our membership. Can I repeat, please? Yeah, what value does taxi bring to your life? The community, so many lovely, caring, professional, passionate people. Taxi is giving a structure and purpose to my commercial writing. There you go. That's a good description. Learning so much, meeting wonderful people, realizing we aren't alone in this. Being part of the cult. Yay! Taxi makes me reach higher, work faster and smarter. During lockdown, it gives me hope and focus, plus friendship. Taxi strengthens my resolve to succeed in the music industry. Connection. Value, part of a professional music company where I feel validated. Friends for life. Incredible co-writers, a place to meet professional co-writers. Gives me a sense of purpose. The opportunity to evolve. I'm receiving the equivalent of a college degree in the business of music. Thank you for that, saying that. Debbie Ward says, the value for me is the ongoing learning, it's scrolling off the page, of being with other songwriters, producers, sharing the highs and lows. That's important, sharing the highs and the lows. Discovering new genres. A lot of good virtual friends to chat with about music, but not only, a lot of new things I've learned. Dean says how it keeps me thinking about music production so that I can continue to improve, and it also helps to keep me current on music. Taxi inspires me to keep writing. It gives me a reason to keep on keeping on. We're the Quarantini Happy Hour nation. Yes, we are. Taxi validates all the sacrifice we do to make music. Oops, I had another big jump. The learning is the most important part to me, developing and getting better. What I do with that knowledge is up to me. Yes, community. Taxi is like being on the Taxi University campus while studying together and creating memories. Kristen says, I love all these answers. Brilliant. I think we understand each other in ways non-composers cannot. And that really helps. There's definitely a bond amongst musicians, especially Taxi separates the wheat from the chaff. There are a lot of musicians out there that want to live in their fantasy land, and I get it. Hey, I make music. I'm awesome. Everybody should love me. You guys are the wheat because you've exposed yourself to criticism, to people helping you, to exposing your music to others. You're not living inside of your own little bubble anymore. That takes a lot of courage, I think. Taxi, John Pearson says, it takes time from having to call. Wow, it's 4:59. Takes time, saves time from having to call through playlists to see what's currently needed in actual TV, film, and ads. Of course, the great opportunities in direct-to-supervisor shots. By the way, we just put out a listing. An old friend of mine, like a friend I've known for 10 years, is a composer on a Hulu show, and he's acting as the music supervisor on it. And we just put out a listing today for a singer-songwriter song. It's very specific, most challenging. And frankly, the sync fee, he was apologetic about the sync fee, is only a couple $100, but it's going to play for about 4 minutes and change in the show. So the back end should be sweet. Taxi, where'd it go? Taxi's giving me a way to reinvent myself, way to feel relevant again. Also helps me tune up my stand-up routine. It sure does. It's weird sitting on the North Pole submitting stuff to America, which is great. I love that answer, Uwe. Oh, and I know a person like ML. Great. Thanks, Giovanni. See, that validates me. I love that all are welcome. No, not everybody's welcome. A-holes are not welcome. Yet we all do respect and support each other. Yeah, it's 5:01. We got to scoot. Anyway, thank you guys. I really appreciate all the answers today. If you have any other thoughts, please drop them in the comments once this goes up on the archive. I want to know more about this. I'm literally on a mission now that my life has calmed down a little bit after the rally. I want to find new, exciting things that we can do for you guys with Taxi, but I need to understand. I think it was Steve Jobs that once said, some people create products and then go find people to buy them. Apple's approach was, we understand people and create products that they need and want. So I want to do more of that. So I want to know as much about any thoughts you have, please go post them in the comments section under this. I will see you again on Monday. Have a great weekend, by the way. See you on Monday. And Monday, what are we doing on Monday's Taxi TV? In a lot of listings now it says, please don't submit. The company running listings says, please don't submit if you're not experienced in the ways of working with music libraries, blah, blah, blah. We're getting a lot of emails and phone calls and mentions of that, even in the chat room on Quarantini Happy Hours. I want to address that. So Monday's show is going to be all about that. So I look forward to seeing you then. Like I said, go give us a like, drop the comments. I want to know more about this stuff. So please, if you want to send emails, send them to memberservices@taxi.com if you feel like writing something longer. By the way, I've been seeing all the member deals. I didn't used to edit those, but now they come to me for an edit before they go to the real editor of the newsletter. And I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so grateful that you guys are posting stuff on the forum about your deals. Some of the stuff I had no idea, that some of you guys are having these incredible successes. I want to know more about this. So please send your emails to memberservices@taxi.com. All right? And with that, I bid you a fond farewell. I will see you on Monday, 4 o'clock, right back here. Bye, you guys.